Hello and welcome back to the Car Guy Coffee Podcast, where we are brewing solutions for car guys and car gals that are trying to upshift and uplift in automotive today. This brew has been brought to you by our friends at VinQ, 321 Ignition, Dealership Toolkit, M1 Data and Analytics, NavThat, Beyond Mobile First. If you want more information about how to support the brew, or you need more brews, go to carguycoffee.com. Let's brew! Liza Borches! Hey, welcome.
Hello.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, thank you. Thank you for being back there waiting on us to get done talking so you can get on here, but we do appreciate you for being here this morning. Thank you. How are you?
I am fantastic, and you cannot start a day any way but positive with you all's energy. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That coffee is working.
It is, and it's only a couple of sips in, right? So make sure that you guys get you some of that Car Guy Coffee at carguycoffee.com. Hit the coffee shop, get you some of that. But the quality of the beans is what it is that we are focused on, and you are a quality bean, sister. We are excited that we have you on the show. And this five-liner is going to be fantastic because it's going to be all about you. So I'm sure that there's plenty of people that can gain inspiration from this, and we want to make sure that they get it. So we're not going to slow this down anymore. We have to get this secret handshake out of the way. You see this right here? You know the deal. This is the message. Forgive, focus, fly, so that we can keep growing. So she's about to be initiated, Fred. We're about to have Liza Borches. Forgive, focus, and fly.
We're about to do it right now, you know. So forgive, focus, fly is a mission we're on right now. And everybody, in order to grow, you have to let go of the weight of unforgiveness. There's so many things that we've done in the past, the mistakes that we've made, even the triumphs that we had that we hold on to when we think that we still live that triumph. Well, those are great things. Those are great memories, and some of them are bad memories and bad things, right? But that all has to go because it's about what you're doing from this moment on, right? What you're doing right now. So forgive everything. Forgive your bad month. If you only sold 10 cars last month and you had a horrible month, if your dealership didn't perform and you own a store and it just didn't work out, it's okay. You can't fix the past. The only thing you could do is work on the future. So forgive that. So we're going to forgive. We're going to focus on what we want so we can fly to everywhere we want to go and just keep growing. That's all we're going to do.
That's right.
So you ready?
We ready? Let's go. All right, we're going to go ahead and cross your hands one time, hands on the shoulders, and we're going to get ready to forgive, focus, and fly. On three, everybody. 1, 2, 3. Forgive, focus, fly, and keep growing. Keep growing. Yeah, there we go. All right.
Part of the Solutionary Club now. You are officially a certified solutionary.
And we are now ready for a five-liner. Let's begin.
Is coming. Let's do this. So, first question. It's an important question because I believe that's where it all starts. You know, Simon Sinek said it when he did his TED Talk. It all starts with the why. What is your purpose? What drives you every single day to wake up and be the best version of you?
You know, I when I first read Simon Sinek's book years ago, it made me realize that I think most people have always focused on what their why is, but didn't even know that it was a part of who they are. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that hit me really hard was I knew that when I came back to join Carter Meyers Automotive, and we can talk about that story in a little bit, I knew that this company was about more than selling and servicing cars. And that's why I think I originally didn't go into the retail business, because I knew that I was about more than selling and servicing cars. And so I did a lot of personal work. I did a lot of deep diving inside of me to understand what is my why. And my mission in life, and this goes for me personally and in business, is that I exist to help move lives forward. And we talk about this all the time at CMA. We move lives forward for our associates, for our customers, and for our community. And, you know, our why is often tied back to our family, to our loved ones, but it's more than that. It's how do we help our family and our loved ones be the best that they can be, and in turn, that helps us grow as people. So my why is I exist to move lives forward, to help people create value around the things that are important to them, and I do that in both my personal life and my professional life.
Wow, and that's why she's on the show, car guys and car gals.
There's no doubt about it. And, you know, that is a great why, and that's a great purpose. That's so much. That's fulfilling. That's so many things that you can just throw out there. So many beautiful words. And that's 100% you. There's no doubt. I didn't even have to ask you that question. I could tell by your actions that is your why.
You can tell by the people that talk about you,
right,
that's your why, right? You can understand by way of the seeds that you've deposited into other people that bloom out into them then giving honor back to you and saying what kind of a person you are. I mean, it just solidifies the incredible quality of leader that it is that you are, because you do lead with love. You do show ultimately what it's like to be a solutionary. The forgive, focus, fly mantra, these are things that I'm sure you've already applied to your life in order to make sure that you did help other people get through the things that they need to get through so that you can accomplish the collective goals that you have corporately, individually, and even inside of their family. So again, that's something that we definitely can see. And it's not just the words, folks. This is something that she's living out. Yeah. There's fruit to show for it.
You know, people, a couple times early on when I started being able to verbalize that what I'm about, what this industry is about, what our company is about so much more than, as I said, just selling and servicing cars. People are like, that's just fluff. She's just this silly, positive little girl who sees the world through these, bright eyes. And it took me a little while to own it and have confidence in saying, it is real. This is not fluff. And we are so incredibly lucky to be in an industry where, whether it's the mission that I just talked about, moving lives forward, or ones that you all have and others in our industry, we're in an industry where we have the opportunity to impact people's lives so much every single day, right? I mean, they don't just come to a dealership because they feel like walking around and looking at a car. They've got somewhere they're trying to go in life. They might need a safe, reliable car to get to work, to put food on the table for their family, or maybe they've got twins coming and they need to upgrade from that sedan to a minivan, going to visit loved ones in another state, getting their kids to school and to sports practices. People are trying to go somewhere in life, and we happen to be in an industry where we get to do that and help them every day. It's mind-blowing the impact that we can have, and I love it when I see the spark in people's eye when they realize that. When they've been in the industry just a short period of time, they're like, wait a second, maybe this isn't just a job. Maybe this is something more.
It really is. And that's why this job can be so fulfilling. I absolutely love it. I'm 20 years in the business, and it took me 8 years to figure that out. I was just selling cars forever. And then all of a sudden I was like, I'm changing lives. I'm actually solving transportation problems.
Yes.
How fulfilling is that for me every single day to come to work? How much of a mission, what a reason to go to work and work even harder than I would just for myself. If it's just for dollars, we make it, some of us make enough money, but it's not about the money. It's about how many people can I help? How many lives can I impact? Right. And that is exactly your culture. And I love that about the Carter Meyer Auto. And when I follow you all, and I follow a lot of you all, and what you guys do, the continual training, the love that you send, the way you have everybody feel like they're owners.
Well, they are owners.
I know. That's beautiful. And the way and you're right. They are. I shouldn't say that. The way that they all are owners, right? And I love that because they're all an intricate piece and they all have something to work towards. And you do that so amazingly. And that is such a unique culture. I mean, that's a unique culture. That's why you have it. And I can't believe that there's not like every dealership across the nation just trying to mirror that, because it is a beautiful.
Well, it's not easy. It's not easy. We happen to have a culture back from when we moved from profit sharing to the ESOP in 1979. You have to have a certain culture in your company that you're willing to be transparent, that you're willing to share the profits, that you're willing to share financial statements, that you're open to that. And we've got many, many, many wonderful dealers in this country. Not everybody necessarily wants to go that path, and it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just happens to be the path that we took. Right. But there's a lot that goes into it. You can't just decide overnight to become an ESOP. But it's worked very well for us for 42 years, if my math is working early this morning.
It is, and you all just keep growing. It doesn't stop, and that's such a unique thing, and I absolutely love it. I don't think I've ever heard of it until I saw your auto group. But it's maybe it was something, maybe smaller groups, but your group is just wow. Seriously, wow. I've seen the type of talent that you pull because of that type of culture, and it's just amazing. And then the people that you bring in for training, some of our good friends like Glenn Lundy, and we absolutely love him. Come on, free Glenn Lundy. Free Glenn.
It is crazy that he can't go live on Facebook right now. I don't even understand it. But you just hit on an important part. And I think one of the things that I'm really proud of that our company has evolved to is focusing on the associate holistically. You know, we do a lot of training on how you sell a car, how you service a vehicle, classes in accounting, and certainly how you would detail a car properly. But we also invest a significant portion in how do we be better humans?
Yes,
how do we help people grow personally and professionally? Because we know if we do that, we're going to take better care of our customers. We're going to get better ideas, more diversity of ideas, people willing to share in a way that's going to strengthen our company. So it's not just about wanting to help them be better people. We know that by doing that, ultimately, it's going to make CMA stronger, and we're going to make a bigger impact in the world.
Amen. Absolutely. We can make a cafe look good, feel good. We can get the advertisement out there. We can have the best baristas in the business, right? But if the quality of the beans that you have is subpar, then it's going to be a bad cup of coffee.
You know, we always say that. We say our competitive dealerships, they can copy our facilities, right? They can not only copy, they can undercut our pricing. Mm-hmm. They can outmarket us. They can spend more money. But the one thing they can't do is they cannot copy the attitudes and the experiences that our associates bring to the dealership every day, right? They can't copy that. So that is our competitive advantage.
And that's one of the things I tell, like, okay, so I work at a store, and my owner, and he's a great guy, but he always says, you're crazy, because I always try to help all the dealers around me. I'll give them tips. I don't care, because I believe the same thing. I believe it's better that I give as much as I can, right? But because here's the facts. You can bring horse to water. It doesn't mean they're going to drink it.
That's right.
Ever. I mean, most of the time they don't. Most of the time they look at the water and they go, it looks good. I'll think about it. You're like, well, you should work. It's because it takes work. And Liza, and you know it's true. And that's why I love what you do, because you are putting work behind that. But when you make work a habit, it becomes fun. When it becomes something that you guys do every single day, it's not abnormal anymore. It's normal. This is what we do. This is our culture. This is love. This is life. And it translates. And I believe that. And what I love about it is that your business is life. Mm-hmm. When you can do that, like a lot of people try to treat business, life. No. They're the same thing. Good people, be good, treat each other right, be fair, make everything a fair deal for everyone, make sure that you're loving on everyone, make sure you're training on everyone, make sure you're giving everybody opportunity, just like life. And if you can do that at your workplace, it's amazing, and you do that with such class, and it's exciting. I want to throw a couple shout-outs to people that are saying hi to you. By the way, happy birthday yesterday.
Yes, happy birthday.
Yes. So congratulations on that. Another year around the earth.
I felt the love all day long. Social media does wonders for birthdays.
We're going to keep this going.
Absolutely. You know, and we got Amanda Sorrell saying, good morning. You have a true legend on the show today. Yes, we do.
Yes. Good morning, Amanda.
Yes, Amanda. And we got Colby Joyner. Love Colby. He's telling us his audio was bad. I got that fixed. Thank you very much. He says, perfect now. Excellent. We got Chuck Studebaker saying, you guys rock. Chuck. And then here's Chris Wilkerson. He says, happy birthday, Liza. I love some Chris. What's up, Chris? How you doing, brother?
Man, love Chris.
We got Wes Storm in the house. You guys are interviewing a legend. Yep.
Yes.
We sure are.
That's
why we're so excited right now. We got Janie Murphy. She's amazing. I love her. She's a good friend of mine on LinkedIn. She's really good. She loves people. She loves sharing people's things, and she's an amazing solutionary herself.
Yes,
good morning.
Good morning.
We got Chris. He was the one who actually told me about the sound. So thank you, Chris. Appreciate you.
But Chris is showing honor right here. Loving your words. Loving what you're saying. Unbelievable to hear a president and CEO say these things. Folks, this is real. And this is why we're trying to make sure that people like Liza get the chance to have a microphone to tell you all and to show you all that people inside of those positions will do the hard things and are inspired in themselves to put relationships over revenue and people over profits. This is a true legend for real.
Well, Janie says, it's always so amazing to see such wonderful ideas on here. I appreciate the uplifting, positive messages you guys deliver. Thank you. Happy Tuesday. Love you, Janie. You're so kind.
Top of a Tuesday.
She's awesome. And then, of course, Chris, one of the best interviews. Powerful.
Ooh,
we're not even halfway through it yet, Chris. We're just getting warmed up, brother. So wait till you see the rest of this.
Yes, we got a little bit more on this. But, folks, I want to make sure that we do highlight the awesomeness of a sister that's able to jump in the automotive industry that has been dominated by the dudes for so long, right? And she's able to come up in there. We had a great honor and privilege to hang out with Paul Daly for the Automotive State of the Union reception that they had over at Digital Dealer in Tampa. And folks, again, energy was high. It was like the very first event that most people were at for the year, right? Everybody was pumped up and excited to do what it is that they're doing in the industry, to see people, to hug people, to hold up a drink, to cheer, yay, we're doing it. But all these other guys had the chance to speak. All these other guys started talking, and then here comes this little sister, and she's a petite one, folks. Okay, I'm a short guy.
She's tiny,
and she's a little tiny, but she's staying in shape. She's doing the right thing. But she comes up, kicks off her heels, right, and grabs that microphone and owns the room. Now, remember, folks, this is a legacy dealer. Standing directly next to me, right to my right, just a little bit, is another incredible individual that was sitting right here this last week.
Jennifer
Scarborough.
I love Jennifer.
I love Jennifer too.
Yeah, she's incredible, but she's sitting right there listening to you deliver your message, and I'm sure she was inspired inside of her core to hear what it is that you were putting out there as you were getting that entire room moving. Folks, I got a little clip. We're going to watch this together. Bam!
I got to kick off my first. You know what? Yeah, girl! Technology is my best friend and my worst enemy. Standing here in front of all of you all tonight inspires me every single day in this industry. There was a day, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, where I wasn't sure that I loved what we did. Then I connected with a few of you who are in the room today and realized that together we impact more lives than anybody else around us.
That's right.
And for those of you who know me well, I like cars, kind of, but I love people. Yeah. And I love the long day in our dealerships. And I wake up every day pumped up and excited to be a part of what you all are in the auto industry. So let's have fun tonight, but let's go back to our dealership and move on forward. Our families, our customers, our communities, and let's make an event.
I didn't know that was recorded anywhere. I had not seen that.
That was on my phone.
I mean, that's off your dome, and that's just from your heart. There. And I love that. And when we heard that, I was like, that's my people. And that's when I knew, I was like, I have to have her on
She kicked off the heels.
And I already knew it before, but you were just so real at that moment. And you were so honest. You know, when you said 5, 6 years ago, I didn't know if I liked this business. I didn't know if this is something I wanted to continue to do because because if you really think about this business, and when you look at perspective of the average consumer, it's bad. We're horrible people. We treat people wrong. We do all the wrong things. But how do we change that? And you did that at your store, and you're doing it with one person at a time, one customer at a time, one salesperson at a time, one manager at a time. And now look at it. 5, 6 years later, look where you're at. Now you're making it to where that whole culture isn't about that. It's about something completely different. And I love that you said it. I like cars, they're okay, but what I love is people.
Come on.
When you said that, my heart was like, boom, exploded, right? I could be cheesy and I could be all those things, but it's so true. And I mean that. And it was just like, it was powerful. Those short words of you just standing on a chair in Tampa, Florida, all of us sweating because it was humid.
It was hot. Right? It was hot in it.
But it was just so amazing to see you. Everybody listened. Everybody heard you. There wasn't a person in that room that was – you saw that. When he turned around, everybody was recording you. Everybody was watching you speak. And it was just that important to all of us to hear that from somebody like you, to hear that that's how we can be. Because when you see leaders say, hey, be people, treat people like people, don't – it's different. 10 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, you would have heard the guy say, crush people. Let's high gross them. Let's do this. Let's screw them over and let's make all this money. Let's cheat on our wives and let's spend money and let's get all this crap that car guys are looked at. And that's what's so sad is that we're not those people. We can be Christians. We can be good people. We can treat people right. We can actually want to help and solve their problem, not sell them something, right? Everybody that walks in the store, we just want to help. Whether it's selling them a car or at least showing them how to buy a car one day, I want to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's what you do. And you do that so well. And to see somebody at your level do that, it's boom, makes your heart feel really good, especially when you're in that same spot where you want that to be that way. And you know that voice can amplify with so many of us.
That whole tribe that you were just showing in that picture and Paul Daly having kind of spearheaded that part of the group and he was the one that got me down to Digital Dealer. And, back when I first came into the retail business in 2003, I felt that and I knew that there was something – and I go through a whole story as to what pulled me into the retail side was really all about that good heart and the impact I knew we could make. But then I got stuck for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And we were growing and I was in quite a few different 20 groups and different meetings. And it became so much about the numbers and it became so focused on what the OEMs were doing that we could and couldn't control. And I actually started feeling like I was grinding too much. I just didn't, I started, I guess, losing a little bit of the heart and the love that brought me into retail in 03. And then connecting with Glenn Lundy and connecting with Paul Daly and connecting with you guys and thousands of others that you showed in that picture and we're all connected on social media, I realized there was a whole other part of the auto industry that I had not connected with. And it completely reinvigorated me and recharged me. And we had plateaued a little bit, I felt like, in our company from a growth perspective, not from numbers, but just from where I felt I was personally. And then we just launched. And the last 6 years have been absolutely incredible. We're about to grow further. Nothing I can announce yet, but we've got some exciting things in the works to close out the year.
I'm excited to hear about it as it comes on. Hopefully we can get the exclusive. But you hear it, car guys and car gals. You can hear the passion inside of her. You can hear the fire in her. And if her kicking off her heels and jumping on a chair in front of all of the industry that's standing in there trying to seek the next solution to get to the next level, folks, then maybe you need another cup of coffee if you can't get excited about these things that she's talking about. But again, this isn't somebody that's just trying to blend into the bunch. You're not trying to just blend in. You have actually come in with a heart for people in a different way and have been brave enough to take the legacy that has been given to you, right? You inherit a legacy, right? So you get the chance to take that on, but you taking ownership of that is a whole other thing. So inside of that, I want to get down into that. What brought you into the automotive industry in the way that you've come in and has made you stayed? What brought you to us to keep this legacy going?
So I'll try to be kind of short, and then you guys can pull out maybe where you want me to go deeper. But after I graduated from college, I had only known the auto industry, right? And my family, this is all we ever have done. So I went to work for American Honda Motor Company and on the wholesale side. And I went out to Torrance, California and learned the business from the other side of it. In fact, I had this wonderful vision that I was going to be the first female CEO of American Honda Motor Company. They definitely had a glass ceiling, but that wasn't going to stop me. And so I kind of quickly moved through some different positions with Honda, and I was a district sales manager out in Maryland, Baltimore, right around the DC area, and the CEO of another auto group. They were probably about the size that we are now. I think they had 15 or 16 stores at the time. And he invited me as their district sales manager to come join their leadership team for 3 days of leadership training. And he didn't invite anyone else from outside the company. I was so honored. And he had been a mentor to me in a lot of ways. And so I participated for 3 days with their whole leadership team. And at the end of the 3 days, their whole team was pumped up and excited to go back to their dealerships. They had action plans on how they were going to grow their team and the things they were going to do in their communities. And I was driving by myself back to my home office to go call on dealers who were making an impact. And I just had this wake up moment that I was like, that's where I want to be. I want to be hands involved, get my hands dirty, my boots on the ground. I want to be building a team. I want to have roots into a community where I can make a difference for others. And I called my husband on my drive home from that leadership training, and we had a conversation. And he said, "Let's go, talk to your dad in Charlottesville." At the time, my dad had 3 dealerships, and so we drove to Charlottesville, and there was a small Volvo dealership here that the gentleman was looking to retire. My dad said, "Well, if you're interested, you could go talk to him." And he's reached out to me that he'd be looking to sell. And so it was this just moment of clarity that I knew that I could do more than what I was doing. I had a pretty easy job with Honda. I was about to get married. They give 6 months of paid maternity leave at that company. Like I could have just flown into a little bit of an easy life. And but I just knew I had more. And I saw from calling on dealers around the country with Honda, I saw so many different ways that you could be successful. I saw a lot of things that didn't work. But I really saw the impact that they were making in people's lives. And growing up, I just didn't have that perspective. I just saw that my dad was at work 7 days a week.
Right.
I didn't see him a whole lot because our business was struggling a lot during those times. And he was trying to just keep it alive. And so all I saw was the grind. And I didn't see the love part. So after I was out traveling, I decided to come back. My dad gave me that opportunity to come buy the small Volvo store. The family holding company invested in part of it, and I invested in part of it. And I just learned I had 14 associates the day I walked in there. And it was so small that I was the GM, the sales manager, the used car manager, the finance manager. I had a terrible service manager. I shouldn't say that. He was a wonderful person, but not a great manager. So I became a service manager. I drove the shuttle. I pulled parts. I mean, I just had to learn every part of the business, which was the absolute best way for me to jump in.
Wow.
So that's how I came back. My husband jokes that when we met, I was 23 years old, 22 maybe. And I was working at Honda, and I told my husband that I might get married one day. I definitely wasn't having children, and I was never moving back to Virginia and going to work in our family company. And so now we're in Charlottesville. We have 2 lovely kids. We've now got 15 dealerships, and I'm so honored and privileged to be able to lead them.
Congratulations, and congratulations to the car business for having you come back in it. Honestly,
you're welcome, industry.
Amazing story. You went out, you found, refound the passion, found the light in this business that you needed to find in order to be able to come back and operate as an owner, as a manager, as a leader, and have the love and have the reason and that why. You found your why. You're like, you know what? This is my why. And I know that I can be very successful. And I love that you needed more. That's the whole keep growing thing. You could have went and took that corporate life and been very cruise control and been comfortable, right?
Instead, I had a baby and I was back in the dealership like under 3 weeks later with the baby on the baby Bjorn. And I would not give up those days for anything.
Amen. And those were days that those are memories. Those are times. That's your growth that you've seen that just like the business was your baby. The dealership was your baby.
Yes.
You had a baby and it all grew together. Look at this. 17 spots. Are you kidding me? This is amazing. It's such a beautiful story to hear you do that. The business is lucky to have you back in. I'm glad that you came in. It's good that you have a husband that was so supportive on that dream, because a lot of husbands be like, no, you're crazy. Keep that job. You're making good money, right? You got benefits. You have all these things. But he believed in you, and he believed in your passion, your heart.
Yes.
You married the right man. Also, there's your bonus there too. So
incredibly lucky to have his support. In fact, he ended up coming to work in the Volvo dealership with me for a while.
Wow.
And so when we had our first child, we would just pass the baby back and forth. Whoever was with the customer, the other one would hold the baby. And we had a nursery set up in my office, and that's where we raised our first kid. The second one, she wasn't quite so good, so she only stayed with us for about 5 months in the dealership, and we had a sitter at home by that point. But I'm extremely fortunate to have that support and the support of my dad, and willing to allow me to do things differently. Because honestly, he didn't have that picture of my ability to be able to be a mom, to run a store, to bring my baby in with me, to figure out how to balance that, because he always had a wife at home. And he says that often. He's like, Liza, I feel like you guys need a wife. I'm like, no. I'm still the wife. I'm just doing things a little differently.
The world, different place. We have a woman vice president. We have leaders like you in place, and it's time. Women make this world better, and I'm telling you, and I tell you, Jennifer Scarborough, she said, and one of her quotes to her, she says that women make this a kinder business, and she's so right, and this business needs to be that way. It was so rough. It was very rough around the edges. It was this is the way we deal, and this is negotiating. You still get those guys that come in and want to do it that old school way of negotiating. Oh, this is, high ball, low ball, all that in the middle, right? And it's unique, but I believe that what you're doing, I know what you're doing is amazing, and I know what you're doing is something that's going to constantly evolve. I can see you even 10 years from now doing maybe something even more different, because you have to change with what's going on in the world, what your customers want, right? And right now it's a digital thing. Right now it's more clean. It's more about showing people who you are, branding yourself, people understanding that you have a culture. They want to buy from good people now. It's like before it was just, where's the best deal in town? Now it's, I want to buy from people I love to spend time with. I want to buy from somebody that I recognize, somebody that makes me feel like I'm part of the family. And I'm sure with everybody that you guys put out in the streets, that you put in the road and in cars, that you're making them part of the Cartermeyer family. And I know it. There's no doubt. I could tell.
One of the things I think it's important that we talk about all the time is we have to, you talked about digital. I mean, we have to stay on the forefront of technology, and we 100%. Have to be able to sell a car online. We have to be able to deliver cars to people's homes, pick up and drop off. There are a lot of customers that we deliver the vehicle to that we've never met in person. But what I always tell our team is we've got to make sure that we have all the same technology as the so-called disruptors, but then we're gonna wrap it with a relationship.
Come on.
And that's what creates the long-term ownership experience, because the disruptors, they can sell a car really well today. But we're going to wrap it with that relationship that is going to have a lot more legs to it.
Oh,
you guys,
do you hear that?
Do you hear this language she's
car guys,
speaking?
car gals?
This is the language of people, of human language between people, and this is the way it's supposed to be. It's a business relationship isn't a one-time boom, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's a continual relationship. Think of selling a car to somebody like a marriage. You're constantly evolving with that too. You have to work on your marriage every single day. You have to let them know you care, you love, and you're there for them, right? And it's the same difference. And she's doing that so awesomely. I love the way you say those words, because people need to hear that from a CEO, president of a big auto group like yours. People need to hear that there's leaders out there that believe this. This isn't just fluff, like you said earlier. This is real. This is the real stuff, not fluff.
And you can tell that by, again, the testimony of what other people interacting and operating with you do. You cannot dispute fruit, people. You can't. You cannot ever dispute fruit.
Well, and so I want to go back to something you all mentioned earlier when you said, it's people over profits and it's not all about the money. But the beautiful thing is that when you make all these right decisions and you pour into people and you do put them first, it does come back to you in a way that you're making money, and then you utilize that to give back more. It's a wonderful win-win relationship.
Right.
But what I always tell our associates, because we actually had somebody leave saying, basically didn't think we should be making money selling a car. And I told them, it is not only okay to make money, but that's actually the measure of how much value you have created for that customer. Yes. And so it's the same thing for our associates. The more value we create for them, the more they want to give back to the company. So it works all the way around. It's win-win.
That's right. It is win-win. I mean, taking a look at our friend John Dawson and saying what it is that he's saying about your group and seeing
it's the best.
Again,
I love some Jonathan Dawson.
Understanding that Carter Myers is one of the most caring and kind people I've ever met. His heart is what Liza has made the heartbeat of CMA. Again, you cannot dispute fruit. This fruit is seed bearing. Okay. So there are many, many places that seed or that fruit will then penetrate as time goes on. But even a person who's never met you before is asking for you to open up a store inside of Kentucky, right? So that they can come out here.
They want to work for you. Just move out there.
I've never done that.
She would love for you to come work for. Chris is a great guy. He's a local car guy here that's been doing the business for a long time, managing, and I absolutely love Chris Wilkinson. What's up, buddy? He's supposed to come by and see me today at the dealership. So come by and see me, brother. We'll have a conversation, man. I'm sure I can get you uplifted and upshifted in life, man. So that being said, we're going to get to the next question, because I could talk about this all day long. The third question I want to ask you is, people, as you've been coming up in this business, you've mentioned a few people, your father, your husband. There's been some mentors. There's been some people that have helped guide you. And you're a great mentor yourself. But of course, all of us, even as great mentors, we have people who we follow and we have helped us lift each other up. Who would you consider somebody in this business that has helped you grow to where you're at today?
There's so many, and I'll tell you, we talk often with the women in this business that we need to have more female mentorship. But all of us, almost all the women that I speak to that are leaders in this industry, all of our mentors have been men, because there just weren't that many women ahead of us to be able to help us lead the way. A couple of the people that were key for me, there's one gentleman who's in my Volvo 20 group. I don't get to go to that 20 group very often anymore, but there were actually several of them. One in particular, Rich Lovering, he has a dealer group up in New Hampshire. And I joined the Volvo 20 group when I was pregnant with my first kid, like 1 year in the business. I really did not know what I was doing. And several of the gentlemen in that 20 group really took me under their wing. I was scared to death the first day I showed up at their meeting, and I was like the only female in the group. But Rich Lovering showed me that kindness does go a long way in this business. He also has a daughter who's now the president of their dealer group, but she was still quite young when I met him. So it was wonderful. He was able to mentor me and teach me how to grow our business. And then I was able to flip it back around and help mentor his daughter as she was coming up. And she's now one of my dear friends and is just doing amazing things in this industry. So I love that we were able to have a relationship that went both ways. So he's just one great example. I'll tell you another one, and this is an interesting story. Another mentor that I met back in 1999 when I was at Honda was a guy by the name of Matt Walsh. And he wasn't technically my boss at the time, but he helped me get a couple of promotions at Honda, really gave me good advice, good career advice as I was heading down that path. Well, turn around 20 years, he's now the COO of my company. And we kept in touch all through those years. Every time we were buying stores, he would kind of help give me advice. I would bounce ideas off of him. And 6 years ago this month, I finally said, Matt, I've been joking about you coming to the retail side for quite a few years, but I think you should really consider it. And he kind of blew it off. And he was in town at a town hall in Washington, D.C., and he called me. And he said, you know what? We've known each other at that point for like 15, 16 years. He said, I've never actually seen your dealerships. Why don't I take a day and drive down to Virginia and come visit some of your stores? And so he did. He's driving back after a day here, and he called me, and he said, you know, if you weren't joking about that, he said, I felt a spirit in your stores that I have never felt before. And he had been 26 years with American Honda. He was the national vice president of sales for Acura. And he left a wonderful company to come join us. And it was really because of the culture and the spirit that he felt during a one-day visit in our dealerships. And we're so honored to have him. He's now my right hand in our company, but he was one of my first mentors in this industry.
That's awesome.
Incredible. And I know what spirit they felt in your stores. And I am honored, again, that you're able to show honor the way that you do show honor. You have so many people that are jumping in here and showing honor to you. I want to definitely give way to them. But again, thank you for being the person that you are, that is only going to continue to reap a harvest of great fruit-bearing people in your life, because you're not focused on just the job. Folks, the wingdings and the little things that we do isn't what we're here for. We are here to do life with people, right? The way that we love each other is ultimately going to impact the quality of life that we have at home, in our business, and in our communities. And when you have so many great people that you're able to connect to, then you just start connecting to even greater people, and more start to add to your company of people that you can pull from, like the incredible Sean Hayes, brother.
Sean Hayes.
Hello, Sean. Good morning.
I love
Thank you for the birthday wishes bright and early.
Heck yeah. Demetrius Naylor, nailing it. So awesome to have you up in here. So excited to have Will Ramsey. Love you, brother. Another leader inside of Car Church, making big things happen for guys that want to figure out how to operate a Christian walk in this auto industry. There are so many people that are raising a banner of standard, and you are leading the way with that. And we are so thankful for that. But sometimes the guidon ends up being the first to get hit, gets scuffed up, has the responsibility of holding up the flag, keeping those colors right. And you've taken probably a lot of trips, a lot of hits on the chin. I mean, getting to that many dealerships, I know wasn't easy. And like you said, it wasn't going to be easy. You said it from the very beginning. You knew it wasn't going to be easy, but you faced it head on and still led with love and honor.
Amen.
So what is it, Liza, that has been the hardest lesson you've had to learn inside of this pursuit in the industry?
Gosh, there are a lot of lessons, lessons every single day. And I think that people always say that it's never failing. It's just learning, right? And opportunities to grow. And I think probably the biggest lesson, and I'll talk about a specific maybe failure here in a moment, but I think the biggest lesson was to not let your head hang down when something doesn't work out, and to recognize that is what is going to push us forward. Because if you look at almost any of the evolutions that have happened in the auto industry, they've all come from things that have failed that we've had to learn from and push through. So I think that our whole industry is really good at understanding that failures are what move us forward. But I think the hardest thing that I've had to learn, probably two things. One, I think one of my biggest weaknesses is that I care for people, and my strength is that I care for people. And so there have been times where I have kept people on our team longer than they probably should have, because I care about them as an individual. And what I had to learn was that sometimes that was not in their best interest. I thought I was doing them a favor. I thought, let me just keep working with them. Let me see, maybe I put them in a different seat. Maybe I offer them different training. Maybe, what else do I need to do to help them succeed? And what I've had to learn over the years is sometimes the best thing I can do is to let them go, because we might not be the right fit for everybody. And that was hard. It was hard for me to stomach. And I also had to recognize that by keeping somebody on board that maybe wasn't a good culture fit or wasn't a good fit for this industry was not only hurting them, but it was hurting those around them. So I really had to come to grips with that and say, if somebody's not a good fit for our team or this isn't a place they can be successful, let's help them find an opportunity elsewhere that they can grow with. And also recognize that we owe it to the rest of our team to make sure that we surround them with people who are the best that they can be.
That's good stuff.
That is fantastic stuff. It's so many reasons, and it's so right. That is such a cool way of putting it, and I think people need to hear that caring for people is a strength, but it also can be a weakness. And you explained it so well there, being able to explain, listen, sometimes you put somebody on staff, you love them. I mean, you absolutely love them. You're going to fall in love with your team. You do, good or bad. We expect people not to be perfect, but when they're just not the right fit, sometimes we let them stay there too long because we do care. Right. And when you do that, that is detrimental to your team. Your team sees that and it makes them go, well, I don't have to perform either. And it's a trickle-down effect. It keeps going and going and going. And it's not that you're trying to punish people, but you want to give them a chance to succeed, just maybe not in the position they're at. Exactly. So you have to let them go sometimes. And sometimes them being let go puts the fire in their belly to say, you know what? I need to step it up. And maybe they'll come back one day and they have a better track record. Maybe they go off and they do something completely different. I've seen a lot of people leave this business and go off and do great things.
Yeah,
this just wasn't for them. And we get that. These hours are crazy. These times are different. It's just everybody has a purpose. It's not everybody has to be a car guy or car gal. Everybody, so.
But there are a lot of people out there that would be great car guys and great car girls who don't know about our industry. So. There are some that aren't meant to be, but I think there are millions out there who don't even have our industry on their radar. They are not aware of the career opportunities and the growth that they can have in this industry. And, we talked a little bit earlier about women. And not only, I think you said, Jennifer shared that women make this business kinder, but what they really do is help us to have diversity of experience we're bringing to the table and different ideas and thoughts, and together, men and women and all ages and all races, when we get all those ideas, we're much better for it. So we got to keep sharing the story out there. We've got to make sure that people who are outside of our industry recognize the amazing opportunities that we have. And it takes every single one of us out there telling the story.
Yes. Preach it. And making sure that this next generation that's coming behind us understands that this is an honorable industry. This is an honorable actual profession where it doesn't take the most educated to become great. It takes you being able to yield to a good mentor and to yield to good processes, and then for you to believe inside of yourself. And we are here to make sure that people understand that this industry has incredible people like you at the helm, leading the way, holding the guide on, running through. And we are so thankful that this industry is better, but we're here to raise that standard.
Yeah.
Raise it up, folks.
We finally just invested, we have an HR department and they've always helped us post jobs and that kind of thing. But we finally just invested in a full-time recruiter who her job is not going to be to post jobs, is 100% of her time is going to be out in technical schools, community colleges, 4-year colleges, out there sharing our story from high schools, middle schools, 100% out in the community. And we said, we have to get that word out. We've got to be talking about CMA, but we got to be talking about the industry. So she starts next Monday and she's got a 90-day plan, just 100% out there telling the story.
See what we're talking about.
This is what I mean. Lou, this is like our mission. It's so beautiful that people, I mean, seriously, I love that you're doing that. I love that you have somebody that's dedicated to that, because that is what it needs to happen. Going to these trade places, going to high school job fairs, going to all these things and showing people, hey, look at this lifestyle you can have. Look at what's possible out there for you. You don't have to go get a 4-year degree, which is great. Go get one. I want my son to get one, don't get me wrong. But not because I want him to go out and because I want him to get around people that are in the same mission. When you surround yourself with people that are like-minded, it's great. When you talk about diversity, that's another reason why I want my son to go to college. Just like this business, being able to get people from all different cultures and different walks of life, men, women, he, her, whatever you want to call it these days, you have to be happy with who you are, but you have to understand that your ideas aren't the only ideas in this world. So walking in a room, when you're in a room and you're trying to grow, and I love that you talked about this a moment ago, is that when you walk in a room and you're trying to grow and everybody looks the same and acts the same, that's the wrong room to be in, because you're not going to learn anything. You're just going to hear the same thing from everyone. So look for different ideas. Look for different ways of thoughts, like from a woman's thought. A woman, and not just a woman, there's women from different cultures. They all have different ways of thinking too. And then there's men from different cultures, different walks of life. And there's children. Even kids can give you ideas. I've heard things from my son about perspective of car business. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. I never thought about that way. So let me think of it. Let me do some different training today. It actually gave me ideas, gets me inspired. So look for inspiration through different walks of life. Look for inspiration through your clients.
What you just said is something that I think our whole industry needs to do a better job in. And it's something I've been working on for the last few months, like really specifically, is we tend to not only do things the way we've always done them, but we don't always extrapolate all the ideas from our associates and our teams in a way that we're not just letting them speak, but we're actually hearing them. Mm-hmm. And we're actually recognizing that people who haven't been in this industry a long time might have better ideas than we do about the processes we have in place. And so one of the things I've been very focused on is how do we make sure we have an environment in our company where people not only feel comfortable, but they know that we want to hear from them. Yes. Especially those who've come from outside of our industry. They walk in and they look through a lens that we do not have.
Yep.
Right. Why do you do it that way? Or they're going to bring an idea to the table. So I think if every one of our dealerships can make sure that our ears are open and that while we know there's certain parts of a process that need to be in place, let's make sure that we're listening from those who join us from the outside and really have an environment where they feel comfortable sharing and bringing new ideas to the table.
And it's way easier, folks. I mean, again, she's not just saying this. This isn't just for show. She literally has an entire corporation of people that are owners. It's different when it's the voice of an owner inside of any store. And you value the voice of an owner. And the owner values their own voice. That's the thing that I can see that you already do to people. You help them to understand the value that they're bringing. They understand the value that they're coming to the table with. And you giving way for that helps you to grow, helps you to get better. And that becomes the pillars that stands your company up. And I honor that. We appreciate that.
Amen.
Red.
Man, you're on it, bro. And that's exactly right. I'm so excited. I'm so glad that we had this day to spend time with you. It's around your birthday time. All this stuff is magical. The weather's changing. We just finished a holiday. There's so many great things going on. We're getting ready to finish this week. We're getting ready to get halfway through the month. This is only the first week in, folks, and this month is an amazing month already. And I'm so excited to have you here. So this business has been great to all of us. We're so glad that you're in this business. We're so glad that you are doing what you're doing with your group and your people and the culture around you and your community. I know what you do. You do volunteer with Boys and Girls Club. I looked up your profile. I know how much volunteer work you do too. It's beyond just that. As you grow, you start to look for other things. I know you do, and that's beautiful. So with this business and all the things that you've pulled together, we've talked about your why. We've talked about what got you back into this business and coming back to Virginia and being with your family and growing there. Talking about what's been your mentors. We've talked about your failures and things that you've learned from those things, right? But what's been your greatest reward up to this point? All this work that you've put together to today. I know there's probably going to be greater rewards that come around, but what has been your greatest reward up to today?
I mean, there's no question that the greatest reward is when we see people in our company achieving things that they didn't believe were possible, or maybe they believed it, but they weren't sure of the path. Yeah. And I look at some of our general manager partners, and there are people at all levels of our organization that I could share stories about. But I wake up every day feeling like I'm the luckiest person on this earth. I was given an opportunity to be the fourth generation of my family to run this company, and I take that responsibility super seriously to say how many more people can I help wake up every morning feeling as lucky as I do. And that's how I approach community work. It's how I approach why we're pouring into our associates. And so I think Sean Hayes was just on here. I saw him make a comment. I mean, he's one that he was a sales associate not that many years ago, but he made a commitment with a plan and a goal. And thankfully, he and I were able to connect, and he kind of sought us out because he knew that we were a company that would give him an opportunity without 15 years of general manager experience on his resume. Right. That we valued the fact that he works incredibly hard. He does have ideas that are new and different than some other general managers who maybe been in the business for a very long time. He had a fresh perspective of having moved up pretty quickly through sales management and ready to be a general manager. And we were willing to invest in him. Amen. And now seeing him, he's taken our Chevy store to a place that we knew it had that potential, but we we were missing it for a few years. He infused new energy. He went through every process through a lens of not having necessarily been a general manager before. And I could not be more proud of what he has brought to CMA and what he's accomplished at that store. So that's just an example of, I think, what I hope to do is how many more people can we give those opportunities to, whether it be general manager partnerships, whether it be through our ESOP, whether it be other growth opportunities in CMA. That's the only reason I want to keep buying more dealerships. Like, let's buy, well, it's not the only reason. There are two reasons. But one is so that we can continue to have growth opportunities for the superstars that are in our company. And for those like whoever it was from Kentucky that said we need to grow there, come this way, because we want to keep finding growth opportunities to give future leaders a place to go make an impact for themselves. The second reason we want to grow, though, is because this industry is consolidating at a pace that if you don't, you're going to be left behind. So we know we gotta have volume. We gotta have consolidation.
You heard her say it, folks.
You heard it from the top, and you know what's going down. So if you're not growing right now and you're just trying to stay this, you're going to eventually phase out, folks. You have to constantly be looking for the next thing. You have to constantly be looking to be better than you were yesterday. And folks, it's not a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but it's no different than what you're doing now. Just 1% every single day. Get 1% better. Have your dealership just grow. Look for little things. Look for improvements. And as you grow, then you start growing, really exploding, and it happens faster than you can imagine. But it takes an accumulation of work, consistent work, of being true to what you want to do, caring about your people, doing all the right things, constantly looking for people to help uplift it, looking for leaders out there that are different, that are bringing fresh ideas, like a Sean Hayes. Congrats to Sean Hayes. I love that guy. We've been following him for a long time. Had a chance to have him on the show a little over a year ago, and absolutely super. It is about that time for a follow-up with Sean. I know he's been super busy, and that's why we haven't really bugged him. Because you can tell, because he used to be a social media maniac, and now you see him still post, but it's not like it was, because I know he's super focused on his team right now, and that's beautiful. I love that. When you were that busy trying to make your team grow, and I've seen what he's done with his team. I've seen how far he goes, and that's because he's been put in the right place.
He became a general manager at a time where he got every bit of adversity thrown at him, and like the first months, it's like I had to learn how to become a GM, and then we have the first major pandemic, and then we have a chip shortage, and there were a couple other things that happened. I was like, you know what? No better way to learn. Be stronger for it.
Man.
And we are stronger because this industry is constantly going to bring us challenges, folks.
Amen.
We thought this year, last year, the years before were built up with challenges, folks. There are greater challenges that are coming in front of you, but there's going to be a greater you that faces those challenges.
Love it.
And I want to make sure that you all are constantly taking what incredible people like Liza is saying and pour that in. Take it in. Allow it to energize your heart to go make great things happen all around you. Liza, you have blessed the cafe today. You have poured some incredible stuff inside of each and every one of our cups, and we cannot wait until the follow-up. How do people get a hold of you? What is the best way for people to get a hold of you if they just need a little bit more of shots of encouragement from you?
Well, I would love for them to connect with me on all the different social media platforms. They can find me on Facebook at Liza Myers Borches. I think Instagram is just Liza Borches, and LinkedIn.
Liza Borches.
Pretty much keep it simple. Just follow my name. And I would love for them to also join us on Breakfast with Champions on Clubhouse. In the morning.
Yeah.
Every morning, folks,
That's
starting at 5 o'clock. Yes, sir. That's a great group of people. If you guys haven't heard of Breakfast with Champions, you all are not on Clubhouse.
If you want Rise and Grind, that's where you're going to have to listen to it right now.
Right.
Free Glenn Lundy.
That's right. Well, no, we are so honored. We are so thankful that you gave us your time this morning. I know how busy you are. An hour is a lot of time in the world that you're in right now. So thank you so much for bringing this. I know my audience absolutely loved it.
Yes,
I am so energized. I'm going to go to my job today. I'm going to love on all my whole team. I'm going to tell them how much I love them and how much I'm proud of them. And I'm going to encourage them to grow today. And I thank you for that. And I thank you for the energy that you brought into us. And hopefully we sense a little bit back out to you. And
absolutely.
Thank you for your time. Oh, man, what a great show.
Thank you guys
great
so
show.
much.
This has been an incredible show. Car guys and car gals, thank you so much for joining us today. If you're watching this on the replay, make sure that you drop a coffee cup emoji. For those of you that are still with us now, give us a big cheers to our friend Liza
Borches.